everyone. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us today. Whether you're here live or watching the replay, we're so glad to have you. I'm Nursu, as always, your social media content creator here at Decktopus. And we've got a very powerful conversation ahead with so much of marketing now powered by AI, automated emails, AI generated posts, smart personalization. So I think it's time to ask, are we still making real human connections, or are we slowly losing something that makes marketing truly resonate? So I'm really excited because we've got an amazing guest here, Phil Triggs-Evans, the CEO and co-founder of Giraffe Social and the author of the brilliant new book, Human First Marketing, is joining us from the United Kingdom. Hi, Phil. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Really glad to be here.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you here again. Welcome to our session. It's wonderful to have you here on stage. So, if you guys haven't heard of Phil's book yet, by the way, don't worry because we're going to talk about it later in the session. But trust me, it's packed with insights on how to keep marketing honest, emotionally engaging, and of course, most importantly, human. And of course, if you have any questions as we go, it's in the name, right? So I just had to say it.
Yeah.
Just drop your questions if you have them, and we'll sure to keep an eye on them and try to weave them in as much as we can. Oh, and by the way, another reminder, just a heads up for everyone tuning in. If you're curious to try Decktopus AI after the session, we've got a little treat for you. Use the code 30webinar at checkout on our website and you'll get 30% off. It's just a thank you for being here today with us, and I will remind you again later on. So let's jump in, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. It's no secret oops, sorry. It's no secret that AI has completely changed how we do marketing, right? From tools that write copy in seconds to platforms that predict customer behavior, it's really fast, efficient, and honestly kind of amazing. But I also think a lot of us are wondering, what is the cost? Like, what is the cost of that efficiency? So, Phil, I have a question for you. What is one AI powered shift in marketing that you're personally excited or really worried about?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think at the moment with AI, it's all happening so quickly that it can be a little bit scary. Because some of these tools are incredible what they can do, and I've never ceased to be amazed by them. But I think I'll try and give you one answer for each of these things, something that's exciting and something that's maybe slightly more concerning. I think the thing that I'm most excited about with AI is actually not so much about how it could be used for marketing, but how it could be used to free up time for marketers to focus on creativity, forming human connections. You know, the Decktopus tool is a really good example of that. How much time do marketers spend creating decks and briefs and these things that is time they could be spending being creative and coming up with marketing campaigns. So I'm excited about how AI can free us up to have more space and time to be creative and strategic. I think in terms of things that concern me with AI, yeah, obviously it's the risk of losing the human touch. And I think given that I've written a book called Human First, people tend to think I'm anti AI and that I'm really against it, which is not actually the truth. I use it every single day. I think most people do at this point. It's just about trying to make sure that we're cautious of not outsourcing too much to it and what we're
Yeah,
outsourcing.
it needs to be a balance, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's I always say it's there to embrace humanity, not replace humanity. Like, how do we use it so that we can actually dial up the level
Enhance
of
it.
humanity?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not there to replace your brain, it's there to enhance it. Like, kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how to place it right now, but you just need to remember that you have a brain. I mean, it gets really automated sometimes that you forget to use your like opinion. Sometimes it happens to me also. I don't know if you experience that as well. Sometimes I'm thinking of something really, really, really easy, and I'm like, why the heck am I asking this to ChatGPT? Like, it's that easy. And we really shouldn't get to that point, I think, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
but it's happening. It's happening quickly where, I think at
we get
first
used to it
these
real quick. Yeah, it's very
exactly.
convenient.
Yeah, and I think it's somewhat addictive. I think asking a ChatGPT to solve problems, and yeah, sometimes you find yourself thinking, I could probably do this quicker than asking it to do it." But yeah, I mean, it's
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly my thoughts. Yeah, thank you so much for this amazing answer, by the way. I totally agree. And here's what I keep sorry, coming back to. Can
Mm,
marketing still feel human despite all this? I mean, we all know what it's like to get a message that just feels off, right? Too generic, too polished, too clearly written by a bot. But we also know AI can help speed up workflows, free up creative time, and even personalize better than we can sometimes, and we can't deny it.
yeah.
So here's a big question for you. Do you think AI tools can actually help brands be more authentic, or do they end up diluting the brand's voice?
I think that's a broad question, and there's nuance in the answer. And I think it really depends on how you're using the tools. If you go to ChatGPT and say, I need to put something on LinkedIn today, write me something about leadership, and then you just copy and paste it and you stick it on LinkedIn. We're that if we go down that path, we're losing authenticity. And I talk about in the book how my fear with AI is that we're moving towards a homogenization of content where everything starts to feel and sound the same. So that's a concern. But I think if you're using ChatGPT or any AI tool to take your ideas and to structure them, so the example I just gave, if you went to ChatGPT and said, right, I want to do a post about leadership. I'm thinking a lot about this dynamic at the moment. My ideas around this are XYZ. And the example I have is the other day this happened. And then you're getting ChatGPT to organize that into an engaging post. I think that's different. And I think that's where the nuance comes in. But I always say with these AI tools, they should be the starting point. You should never really just be copying and pasting something out, because then you are losing the voice. This is, you have to edit it to make sure that it's authentic to you.
Exactly. Since, the way it's really addictive, sometimes we just forget to I don't know, put in our own thoughts and not make it too robotic because, you can tell right now. I mean, if something is written by a bot and you've
Yeah.
never done any touch ups on it, I mean, it really shows and screams bot. Like, you can
Yeah.
tell. And
Yeah.
really not professional. We think it's professional because it has the tone and everything we're looking for. I mean, whatever the tone you're looking for, it has it. But if you're not doing the necessary touch ups, it really fails you, and it's actually humiliating at that point. I think so. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. It's strange that I was speaking to someone the other day and they said that they now deliberately put one spelling error in their posts so that
Exactly.
people know it's not
It
AI
looks
generated,
real.
which
Yeah,
is,
yeah, yeah, I
I mean,
know.
it's crazy that we're at that point. But yeah, I think it's important that you're always kind of filtering. Um, and I think there's uses for AI that, you know, go beyond just captions. You can use AI as like a sparring partner for creativity and say, like, I have this idea. Why would it be good? Why would it be bad? And sort of, have it challenge you slightly. I think, there are some really
Mhm.
positive uses.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Have you seen a campaign recently where AI was used really, really well, like something that nailed the balance between tech and humanity?
This is a tricky question because I think when AI is being used well in marketing, you don't know it's being used. I think when you go, "Oh, this is AI generated," I think then it's failed, because I think if you're looking
Yeah.
at it thinking, "Oh, this is AI generated," then at that point it kind of
Hmm.
makes it feel not real and not human, and people kind of get a bit grossed out by it. So it's quite a hard question to answer because, yeah, I think the answer is if someone's using it well, you don't know. you know, you're not. You mentioned earlier that there's certain telltale signs that you go, oh, this is AI generated.
Yeah,
Um,
there's this ChatGPT lingo that like gives itself away instantly. Like,
yeah,
I don't know,
yeah, and you see it
starting with
all the time.
imagine doing that, imagine doing this, and
Yeah,
weird lingo. It just screams ChatGPT. I mean,
yeah.
it doesn't have to be
I
just ChatGPT. Well, whatever bot you use. I mean, right?
yeah, when you see things that say like in the social media landscape, and you know these sorts of things, you're like, do
Exactly.
people
I
say
like
that?
that one.
I don't think they do. And also, obviously, the M dash is, you know, I always joke that we thought growing up watching films like Terminator that humans would be the
Mhm.
casualty of AI, but it's turned out to be a form of punctuation. But people can't use the M dash anymore because ChatGPT uses it all the time. So if you
Yeah.
use it, people are thinking,
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I totally agree. And oh, a quick reminder before we dive into more tips and questions. If anything you're hearing today has you thinking, okay, I need to give this AI a go, don't forget we've got that 30% discount code for you. And we don't tell anyone that you're using AI, I promise. Just pop in 30 webinar at checkout, and no soul will be able to tell you used AI if you don't tell them. Okay, super easy. Okay, now let's talk tactics. A lot of
Sure.
marketers watching today are probably thinking, cool, I get it. We need to keep things human. We get it. But how do I actually do that when I've got 5 campaigns, 100 content pieces, and a tiny team? So, Phil, this is where I want to tap into your expertise. What are some things you've seen work, like specific tips or principles that help keep the marketing soul intact even when AI is in the mix?
I think the first thing is to reassure the listeners that quality is more important than quantity. You know, I think with AI tools, there's a temptation to think I can put out 100 campaigns and I'll post 5 times a day. And but the
Yeah, I can do
reality is that
anything. Exactly.
yeah, the reality is though is you don't need to do that. You know, you're only going to saturate your audience if you just keep spamming them with posts that seem AI generated. You know,
Mhm,
so when we say human first marketing, what we're really saying is that we need to get back to the basics. We need to get back to the fact that marketing is essentially one group of humans trying to demonstrate the value they can provide to another group of humans. Whether you're B2B,
mhm,
B2C, it doesn't matter. It's people at the end of the day. So when we
mhm,
talk about human first marketing, we talk about putting people back at the forefront. And that means there's two sides to this. One side is your team. And right now, what we're doing right now is human first marketing because you work for Decktopus. You're a face of the company. You're this famous newsreader that they've hired somehow, you know, and you know you're now front and center, and you're representing the brand, and people get to see your face and who you are and
yeah.
your personality, and that's awesome. And I think that's part of this is let your team be at the front, let people see who are the people behind this brand, because that's that's impossible to replicate. No other company can do what Dectopus are doing because no other company have got these people. So celebrate your team, get them to the forefront of your marketing, and then the other side of the equation is your customers. Bring them in, like get them involved in your marketing campaigns, whether that's doing sort of user generated content, whether that's sharing their stories, whether it's really deeply understanding who they are and creating content for them in mind. You know,
Mhm.
it's really about focusing on the people in the equation, and as I say, that's the team and that's the customers.
Yeah, exactly. And just before we continue further, I'd like to welcome our CMO if she's good to go on stage.
Yes, I'm really sorry for
Welcome.
being so late. Hi, how are you, Phil?
I'm good. How are you? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good as well. I've been stuck in traffic for so long. That's why I'm a bit late. I'm sorry.
No, no worries.
By the way, I just jumped into the conversation, but I want to start by congratulations on your book launch.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to
Yeah,
say.
I directly grabbed the Kindle version once you messaged me. I was waiting for so long. Congrats.
Thank you very much. No, I appreciate your support.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was just actually about to talk about Phil's book. So Anara, you just stepped in at the
Good
just
timing.
exactly amazing time. Can you guys hear me, by the way? I think there's something wrong with my AirPods. You can hear me, right?
No, no, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Because I can just hear you from one ear. So I mean, if you can hear me, that's all good. Okay. Now, Phil, I'm gonna ask you about your book. I just saved it to the last part because it's the juicy part. So, well, congrats on your amazing book, Human First Marketing. It's so clear. It's just not another how to do better marketing kind of book. It really feels like a call to rethink how we show up as brands. Can you share a bit about what inspired you to write it? Was there a moment or a shift you noticed in the industry that made you say, yeah, I need to put this into a book?
Yeah, definitely. So because of the work we do at Giraffe, so we're a social media agency, we've been doing it for a long time. We've been around 13 years. And over the last 4 or 5 years, we've started to see a shift in terms of what works. And I started to see the pattern was it seems to be the things with people in that do best, whether that's social media posts or influencer marketing, employee advocacy. And we were just getting asked about it more and more. So for me, it was kind of starting to piece together. And then obviously everything that's happening with AI, and there's some amazing tools that, I mean, obviously you guys are one of them, but there's some amazing tools that are really beneficial. But then there's also some drawbacks in terms of the marketing and trying to think about how to manage that. So really the book was almost a bit of a selfish pursuit because I had all this chaos in my mind of ideas and different strategies and tactics and sort of theories. And writing the book was a really great way to kind of organize all of that and to put it into a framework that, yeah, we use at Giraffe. It's a bit of a peek behind the curtain, but also, you know, it's something that people can hopefully apply to their own marketing, completely, whether it's a huge business or you know, an entrepreneur starting out. I think there's some principles in there that can apply.
So it's really amazing to see a book that has a different perspective and not just ordinary perspective on marketing. So congrats on that again. And I'm wondering, what's one key takeaway from the book that you hope really sticks with the readers?
Wow. It's difficult because there's so much in there.
I'm
I
sure
was
you have
really
a lot.
conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've read a lot of business books, and you know, I was really conscious to write a book that was overflowing with stuff that you could use. Didn't want anyone to feel shortchanged, to the point where my editor at the end said, "I think this book's too long. I think there's too much stuff in this book, and you should maybe cut it back." But I refused and said, "Look, we've done it. Let's put it out." So I think the thing that I'm most excited about in the book is actually right at the very end, and it's around strategy. And it's because it was sort of my mad scientist moment of thinking, do you know what? I don't think the marketing funnel is fit for purpose anymore. And when I looked into it, the marketing funnel's been around for over 100 years, which is insane. And yet we're all still using it as marketers. So my belief is that the modern consumer journey is not linear, and it isn't, oh, there's awareness and then there's consideration and there's conversion. There's too much going on and too many touch points, too many different types of marketing. And it hit me whilst I was away. I was actually in Kenya with my wife at the time, and I was this is a weird story, I don't know why I'm telling this, but I was in the swimming pool and I was thinking about it, and to the point where I literally said to my wife, I was like, you need to write this down quick. It hit me that
You'll
the
never know
modern
when
consumer,
inspiration will come, right? I mean,
exactly
it
right,
just
exactly,
comes to you at
yeah.
the most unexpected time. And I think that's the most valuable moment.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So it hit me that the modern consumer journey is actually more like a pinball machine, that we bounce up, down, left, right, and we need to start thinking about developing marketing strategies that allow for that and understand that that is actually quite typical for customers, and trying to get them go through step one, step two, step three. It's just not reality anymore. So I've developed a whole strategy around pinball machines, which is at the end of the book. And that was one of the chapters I thought this might be a whole other book, but I've put it in there anyway.
I think that's a huge deal. So amazing job. Really, again, congratulations on this amazing book. I hope a lot of people can read it and change their perspectives for the better in marketing industry. And before we wrap up, here's a last minute reminder again. Don't forget to grab your 30% off if you want to try Decktopus AI for yourself. The code is 30webinar, and it's live now on our site. You can start creating branded content that's fast, smart, and still totally human. And again, will not tell anybody. We're almost done. We're almost done, but with Alara with us, I want her to answer a little question for us. I want to wrap things up with just one last thought and answer from each of you. If there is one thing marketers should remember as they start leaning more into AI, what would it be? Let's start with you, Alara.
Okay, so that's a good question actually, because recently I started to think more about how we should use AI, because we have some, we can say that we have a small marketing team in Decktopus, and I try to help my team to leverage AI as much as possible, because there are some tasks that are done very repeatedly and they just consume time, like for example writing a caption or like publishing a post on a specific time, kind of things. These are the tasks that are taking time, but they don't require that much of thinking. Like you don't need to do a context switch to do that kind of work. But I try to find ways, use AI to like just save time actually, but not like lose our how to say, I don't want
Voice.
my, yeah, we don't need to lose our voice, but we need to find a way to save a little bit time. And also I just don't want, especially in junior marketers, I see this behavior, like they overuse AI because they think like it's very fast, it's very good. Instead of writing a blog post, for example, wholly by yourself, you ask AI to do it and it generates a good blog post, for example, like a good paragraph that is easy to read, maybe with different frameworks. But when it comes to keeping the reader in the blog and keep them reading, you need to add some touches. Like for example, we did a test back then. We like write a blog post with the help of AI. But I said, okay, this is good. It has a lot of insight. It has a lot of information, and it's actionable. It's good. I mean, but I said, okay, but I don't see anything that would make the reader smile. So we need to kind of put kind of a hook maybe, or something that would surprise the reader, to say, okay, someone wrote this, so this is not one of the AI written blogs.
It's human
So
made. It's real.
yes, we kind of put like, we went to Canva, created like a banner that has a cute cat, for example, and say, okay, soldier, keep reading because you're gonna have this kind of insight in the next chapter, kind of thing. And you won't believe it, but it actually works. The engagement rate of that blog is a bit higher than the other ones, because you read, and then even though if you're scrolling, you see something like that, okay, you grab the attention. And I don't think if you ask AI to do something that would hook the audience in the middle of a blog post, it won't give you that idea. I mean, it can say, okay, use this framework, use this thing that is very popular in the industry, but they don't do these kind of things. They don't like hide Easter eggs in your website. So that's why I try to especially teach our juniors things like that, because you need to create like a bond with your readers, visitors / users, maybe, so that they know they're talking to a human. And I have one more small story to tell, actually, about this. I started Decktopus about like 5 years ago. I start by creating social media posts, writing blog posts, and I'm right now directing whole marketing team. But back then, I was running our newsletter and sending people like newsletters about news of the week, new features, etc., kind of thing. And at the end of every newsletter, I would write your favorite community manager, Alara. That was it. And people just, recently, some very old clients reached out to one of our support team, and they said, don't forget to say hi to Alara. I remember her from the newsletters, because they know that I am writing that newsletter. So they, even though we didn't talk at all, they know that I'm here. They know there's someone
You're now
called
part of their
Alara.
family.
Yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you.
I'm kind of a celebrity in our community. Yeah.
That's amazing. And what is your take on that, Phil? What would you say?
Yeah, I think that's a great story. I didn't realize that Alara was so famous, but it's nice to hear.
She is.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's blog posts are a really good example of an area that AI is kind of swallowing up and making a worse place, I think, because it is just so they're all the same, and we can't lose opinion, we can't lose emotion, we can't lose these little quirks that make us unique. As marketers, we're constantly searching for those little unique things, like how can we be different, and how can we separate ourselves. For me, the answer is staring us all in the face, and it's people. I was saying earlier, it's you can't. Every team is made up of different people, and every person in the world is slightly different and has different experiences and quirks and sense of humor, and those things need to be celebrated because of that. I mean, it's a perfect example, Alara, of like a little moment of something that you maybe never even really thought about, but someone else remembered, and it resonated.
Yeah.
And that's special. That's a connection, and that's what this is all about: building trust, building connection, being remembered. So yeah, it's like I almost feel like I can't answer the question, because you've given the perfect analogy of exactly why human first marketing works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really actually what differentiates us from AI. That's what makes us real and different than AI
Definitely.
in this sense. So thank you both so much for your answers. This was such a refreshing conversation to have. To everyone tuning in, if you're curious to explore how AI can support your marketing without losing your human edge, of course, like we just talked about, check out Decktopus AI. You can start creating branded content at scale that still feels personal and true to your voice. And if you want to dive deeper into everything we talked about today, grab a copy of Phil's book, Human First Marketing. It's honestly one of the most thoughtful takes we've ever read on this topic, because it's different than what is normal, like what is on the market. It's different. Thank you again tuning in, everybody, and we will see you next time in our next webinar. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you later.